I'm going to go into a long story. Maybe I'll have the privilege another day. As I said, I grew up in Ontario. At the age of 12 years old, my mother was working, and I was looking after my brother and sister. And I guess somebody went to Children's Aid Society and told them I was 12 years old and babysitting, and I shouldn't do that. And they told her she had to quit working and go on welfare or to send me to school. Wow, plenty of water, bitch. At the age of 12, I was sent to the residential school in Kenora, Ontario. And I always thought my mother hated me because she was always getting after me, and now she was proving it because she was sending me away. And I went. And the kids used to beat me up and call me White Indian because I didn't know how to speak my language. I'm Cree, by the way. And they were so mean to me, and I would go and tell the sisters, and the sisters didn't believe me. And finally, my mother came to visit, and I said, I don't like it here, let me, I don't want to stay here. And they said, you have to. And I said, no. But I guess I was so rebellious that they sent me to another school in Portage-la-Prairie, where I was to stay from 1946 to 47. Because at that time, my father had deserted us. So I really didn't know who I was. I had no identity. And if I were to write a verse, I think I would call it Lost. And my education is grade 7. Anything I've learned, I went back to school. As I grew older, I was so full of hatred toward people, and white and Native. I didn't want to be Native. I remember making fun of my own people in Kenora when they would be drunk and sleeping on the street. I didn't realize I was Native. And so I was just a really mixed up kid. So I stayed there, and my father always worked different places. We were like gypsies, you know, moving, so I never really got to know many people. I got married at the age of 17. I was pregnant, I had a little girl, and married this man to give my daughter a name. We were married for 16 years. In those years, I drank off and on. I wasn't a steady drinker because I had kids to look after. I had 6 boys and 2 girls. 1969, that came to an end. My husband got custody of my kids. And from there, I was to drink up until the 70s. I don't remember too much. I can't tell you that part of the story. The thing is, I landed in a mental hospital. I'm so lucky to be here today to share that a bit with you. Anyway, to go on with it, I stayed married to this man. He was very abusive to me. I don't want to go into detail. If I do that, I'm doing it privately. And I finally got a divorce. He took me to court. He said I was an unfit mother. I agreed with him because I wanted to get away from him. And I remember the judge saying, he's going to charge you with habitual drunkard. I said, well, what does that mean? She said, well, that means you drink every day. I said, Your Honor, I'll do anything to get a divorce from him. And so I got the divorce. But from there, I was to drink. From 69, I can't recollect too much. I know I just wanted to die because I had lost my babies. I met a beautiful doctor in the Selkirk Mental Hospital. And I remember her saying to me, I promise you one thing, Alice, if you stay sober long enough, your babies will find you. And I said, no, they won't. Somehow, some ways, I got sober. 1973, I sobered up. Or the end of 72, I sobered up. And this is where it beginning for me. And Anne just reminded me, I don't mind. I was going to meetings. I'm a member of AA, I don't mind saying. I was going to meetings and I had a friend of mine said, Alice, there's a place that are looking for people to help people get sober. And I said, oh yeah? Well, what do you have to do? She said, well, just go get interviewed. I said, well, I don't have no education. What can I do for people? She said, just go and do it. Okay. Don't get mad. So I went. And this place, I'm proud to say, was called Main Street Project. I have to tell you that the gentleman who was my boss was a tremendous boss. He helped a lot of people through the years. He wasn't an alcoholic himself. But one of the things that stood out for me, and by the way, when I got hired, there were 3 or 4 people who had to interview you, right? And he was the last one, and he said, Alice, what can you do? I didn't have much of a resume. And I said, nothing. He said, good, you're hired. Wow. Got hired, no education, no nothing. See, he saw potential that I didn't see. He saw something in me, and you know, in this old, ugly building on Main Street, I remember this old man sitting there and he said, are you going to work for us? I don't know. So I sure hope so. He says, you're very pretty. And I'm lovely old man. He conned me a couple of times in money. He said he was hungry and needed a couple of bucks through the years. I stayed with Main Street Project for almost 30 years. I learned who I was. I remember seeing people sleeping on the floor and I said, oh my God, if I continue to drink, I'm going to do the same thing. And I did, you know, I'm not going to go say I didn't. But something happened to me that day. I thought, people do care for you. People do love you. But you see, I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't even know how to hug my own babies. They were like little dolls when I had them. Because when you're not told you that we love you, you don't know how to say it yourself. And that's what I learned in school. Nobody told me what they loved me. They just said, do this, do that. No, and my parents both grew up in a school. My mother was taken when she was 6 years old. And I couldn't understand why she couldn't hug me, or my father. My father was very abusive. He didn't know how to hug me. But you know what? I have to say one thing for him. Every time I was in trouble, that man was there picking up the pieces. Every time I was in trouble, people like Anne were there trying to encourage me. It was people that really helped me where I am today. And I'm so proud of my Native heritage. I am Native. I used to be French, by the way. The only thing I learned is how to swear. Impressive here today. And I have a new friend. Alame, or Ulame. I can never pronounce her name right. She's got an office in Portage Place if you want to talk to her. I met her through bingo, by the way. That's where I meet most of my friends in bingo. So if you got a couple of bucks to lend me tonight, I'd like to go and spend $5,000. You see, that's why people said I wish I hadn't learned to talk. But I'm glad I learned to talk because I do share my story, you know, and I know that the young people today, man, you're learning a lot from us older women. I hate to say it. But in August 12th, coming up, I'll be 78. Not bad. Thank you very much. I love you all.
Thank you, Alice, for sharing your story. So now we're closing off, and again, if you want to stay and do some writing with Rosanna, you're welcome.